Marco van Basten was a player who knew how to do everything. He took penalties flawlessly, scored impossible goals, won 3 Ballon d'Ors and multiple trophies. The Dutch centre-forward was signed by Ajax at the age of 16, and the following year was already good enough to question the position of starting striker Wim Kieft. Kieft has just won the Golden Boot, but due to Van Basten's arrival, he was sent to Pisa. Not even 20 therefore, Van Basten is the striker of the Lancers. He already scored 13 goals in his first season, but obviously he will be able to do better. In 1984, he scores 28 league goals, then 22 the following year. But 1985-1986 is the turning point. He scores 37 goals in 26 games, repeating the crazy averages for the 4th year in a row in 86-87, scoring 43 goals across the season. In 4 years, he will always be top scorer of the Eredivisie. For Van Basten's Ajax, there are also 3 national cups and a Cup Winners' Cup. Obviously, the Swan from Utrecht attracts the attention of many European teams. Fiorentina are the first on the move, and it seems done. Van Basten will form a sensational trio with Ramon Diaz and Baggio. The contract is even signed, and the former director Claudio Nassi still keeps a copy. Failure to pay the installments due to disagreements in the management caused everything to blow up, and so the history of Serie A and of Europe takes a very different turn. Van Basten, in fact, will still go to Italy, in a team that hasn't won the Scudetto for 8 years. It is the Milan of Berlusconi and Sacchi, that one of the 3 tulips, Rijkaard, Gullit and Van Basten. To tell the truth, the first season does not see him as a total protagonist. Van Basten introduces himself to the fans by scoring immediately against Pisa in the Serie A, and with Bari in the Cup. In the first 3 weeks, Milan beat Bari, Como, Monza, Parma and Barletta in the Coppa Italia, and Van Basten scores 5 goals and gets 2 assists. Unfortunately though, in October a serious ankle problem hits him, and Van Basten only returns in April. Milan at that moment are 4 points behind Napoli with 6 matches remaining. At the time, a win was worth 2 points. A historic comeback begins, which will change the course of Milan's history. Van Basten starts in all 6 matches from the bench, but he proves decisive, especially scoring the goal with 2 games left just against Napoli, which allows Milan to overtake Maradona's team at the top of the table. The Rossoneri only lead for 2 weeks across the season, but that's enough. This way they return to the European Cup for the 88-89 season, and it is a fantastic year for Van Basten, who makes his name as one of the best players in the world. After winning the Euros with the Netherlands, and we will return to this later, Van Basten scores 19 goals in the league, 3 in the Italian Cup and 1 in the Super Cup. But above all, in the European Cup he scored 4 goals against Levski Sofia, 1 against Red Star Belgrade, 1 in the quarterfinals with Werder Bremen, 2 against Real Madrid and 2 in the final against Steaua Bucharest. It's 10 goals in 9 games, which bring the cup back to the Rossoneri after 20 years. In doing so, even if AC Milan had lost the Scudetto against the record-breaking Inter Milan side, Van Basten and AC Milan are directly admitted to the European Cup. Van Basten wins the first Ballon d'Or of his career and thrives himself for the 89-90 season. Van Basten will be the top scorer of the league, despite yet another operation that kept him out of the first matches. But this time, it is Maradona's Napoli which comes back to overtake Milan, and they will lose the Scudetto after being in the lead until a few weeks left. In Europe, however, it's a different story. AC Milan will win the 2nd consecutive European Cup, and Van Basten gets the decisive assist for Rijkaard, allowing Milan to get past Benfica. In all this, the Swan from Utrecht is only 26 years old, and is preparing to start the 1991 league in what seems to be a clash between Inter and Milan. However, the surprising Sampdoria of Mancini and Vialli emerges and takes all. Only 11 goals will come from Van Basten, and the relationship with Saki will not be idyllic. Van Basten was also sent off in the round of 16 of the European Cup with Bruges, and Milan lost in the quarterfinals to Marseille without the Dutch ace. They will still win the UEFA Super Cup and the Club World Cup. Fabio Capello arrives in place of Sacchi, and Milan returns to win in the Serie A. It's an extraordinary year for Van Basten. He will win the Ballon d'Or in 1992, at the end of a season with 29 goals and 13 assists between Serie A and the Coppa Italia, an average of over 1 per game. Milan completes the season unbeaten, one of the few teams in history to have done this record. In 92-93, the year began the best way, but after 12 goals in the first 13 Serie A games and 6 in the first 4 Champions League games, comes the third major ankle injury. He will come back, but just at the end of April. Milan wins the Scudetto, and it's in the Champions League final against Marseille. Van Basten is not yet in top form, and despite him starting, Milan lose. In fact, it's a tragedy, because this will be the last game of his career, even if Van Basten still doesn't know it. His ankle is still sore, and Van Basten is even replaced and subbed off after a brutal tackle that condemns him to a 4th ankle surgery. The following year, therefore, Van Basten will be champion of Italy and even champion of Europe, but without ever taking the field. Milan dominate the Scudetto and demolish Monaco and Barcelona in the semi-finals and final, raising the trophy for the 3rd time in 5 years. It's the end of the 1994 season, and Van Basten hopes to return for the World Cup, but Milan order him to stay away from the field to complete his rehabilitation. There would be nothing to do. Van Basten gives up at the end of the 94-95 season. Milan will lose the Champions League final just against Ajax, a cycle that comes to an end, that of the career of the Dutchman, who effectively stopped playing at 29. Capello will even burst in tears when Van Basten shows up at the San Siro to bid his farewell. The Dutch national team is deeply affected. A team that in its history lost 3 World Cup finals, and the World Trophy came with Van Basten as a leader in the 1988 Euros, the year when Milan come back against Napoli. There are many doubts about his physical condition, but he will silence everyone. He scores a hat-trick with England, allowing Netherlands to pass the group stages. In the semi-finals against Germany, Van Basten will score a goal and an assist. The Netherlands faced the Soviet Union in the final, against which they lost in the group stage. Van Basten again assisted the decisive goal, scored by Gullit. Then came a stunner that certified his talents. The ball falls high from the left. The position is too tight to shoot, but Van Basten is pressed. I thought about taking a touch, but I would have had problems getting rid of the defenders, so I tried to shoot. A beautiful volley arrives, from an impossible position. It will be defined as one of the most beautiful goals in the history of football. Van Basten ends up top scorer and best player of the tournament, all at the age of 23. But in 1990, the Netherlands soon lose to Germany in the rounds of 16 of the World Cup, and Van Basten fails to score. There are high hopes for 1992, the year in which Van Basten led Milan towards an unbeaten season. The Netherlands get off to a strong start and go straight through the group, even though Van Basten failed to score against Scotland, the Soviet Union and Germany. We get to the semi-final against Denmark, which wasn't even meant to qualify, and was only playing due to the war in Yugoslavia, which forced the team to give up their participation. But this is their year. It's another magical story that will write the pages of this sport. The Danes win on penalties, one of which was even missed by Van Basten, only the 4th out of 55 taken. The Swan will still be elected the best player of the tournament, but the Dutch course in the international field will continue, and as we heard, Van Basten will miss the 1994 World Cup, thus ending his career. Considering he was born in '64, Van Basten could continue playing until the early 2000s, and who knows what could have happened. It was a story with many ifs. 4 heavy ankle injuries not only undermined his performances, but also ended his career too early. 16 of Milan's 48 trophies, therefore a third of their cabinet, arrived solely in the 8 years in which Van Basten wore the Rossoneri shirt. And Milan can boast 122 years of history. 3 times Ballon d'Or winner, the human record if you don't count Messi and Ronaldo, shared with Cruyff and Platini. 6 times top scorer of a league in 9 seasons, and a total of 24 trophies won. As said several times, while we have narrated about this intense period, we must not forget it all happened in a few seasons, because football has decided that this talent with crystal ankles could not continue to have a say. The Swan Van Basten, the one who wrote the history of Milan, and who with a spectacular goal gave the only trophy to his nation.